There is no Central Alberta housing market. There are 4 of them. And right now they're not doing the same thing. So if someone answers, is it crashing with a single number, they've already got the wrong question. If you're thinking about listing this year, call or text me 587-802-1500 and we'll look at your street, not the city average. No pressure, no pitch, just a straight conversation. Let's start in Red Deer with this month's numbers. A townhouse there sells in 24 days, a half duplex in 27, an apartment takes 52, more than twice as long. Detached sits in between at about 25 days with a median price of $471,000. And just outside of town on Acreages, 4 in 10 listings came off the market without selling at all. One market, one number, 4 completely different answers. Here's what the headline number hides. A single figure for all Red Deer, every home type blended together, but detached, semi-detached, and townhouses and apartments are 4 different markets in town with 4 different sets of buyers, and acreages are a 5th. Blend them and you get a number that describes none of them. The data supports being broken out that way. It just usually isn't, because one number is easier to report than 5. So I'm not going to give you one number. I'm going to give you 4 plus a 5th that rarely gets pulled out on its own. A crash has a shape. Supply piles up, homes sit for months, sellers take well under asking price. Detached is none of those, and in Red Deer, detached is the biggest segment. It's what most people mean when they're talking about the stats. Just under 2 months of supply, that's a balanced market. Buyers have real choice, and a well-balanced home went in 25 days at 98.5% of what they were asking when it sold. Over the past 2 years, the benchmark detached home is up 10.1%. So if you own a detached in Red Deer, Blackfalds, or Lacombe, this isn't a crash. It's a normal market, and it should be priced like one. This is where one market falls apart. Townhouses are the tightest segment in Red Deer, under a month and a half of supply. 24 days to sell with a median price just under $290,000. Semi-detached or half duplexes sit right beside them at 27 days with a median price of $315,000. Both read as a slight seller's market on my index and on the same score. Where they part company is over 2 years. Townhouses are up 18.7%, the strongest of the 4, and half duplexes are up 10.9%. 2 segments that look identical today, and one has grown nearly twice as fast. If that's what you own, the market is soft doesn't describe your situation at all. Red Deer apartments, the 52 days to sell, with a median price just under $190,000 and more than 2.5 months of supply. That's twice the supply of townhouses and twice the time. If crash headlines are describing anything around here, it points closer to apartments. Read it from the other side of the table though. If you're buying your first place in Red Deer, this is where you get to take your time and not lose a home overnight. And over 2 years, it's still up 15.8%. And here's the 5th one, and it's the one that almost never gets reported on its own. I pulled every acreage sale in Red Deer County and Lacombe County over 2 years, houses on 1 to 20 acres, 268 of them sold. Here's a different clock. How long to get an offer before any conditions come off? An acreage takes 23 days. In Red Deer, it's 10. Acreages sell at 96.5% of the original asking price. In Red Deer, it's more like 98%. Then the number that stopped me over the same 2 years, 183 acreages came off the market without selling at all. 4 in 10. In Red Deer, that's closer to 2.5. I work acreages right across Red Deer and Lacombe County, and that gap is the whole story. Smaller pool of buyers, and they've seen every comparable property out there. Priced right, an acreage goes. Priced wrong, it doesn't sell at all. And that's the real risk, not a crash. Everything so far follows the middle of each segment, the typical home, not at the top and not at the bottom. That is the honest center of the market, and it's where most people are. But inside every one of those categories, there's another split, and it runs on price. For example, take a detached property in Red Deer, under $300,000, supply sits at barely over a month. Over $650,000, it's closer to 3. Same city, same segment, and more than twice the choice at the top. So the higher up the price ladder you go, and depending on where you are in town, the more the balance moves towards the buyer. Where your home sits in that range matters about as much as to what type of home it is. That's the second part. Where in town? I've mapped neighborhoods by neighborhood across Red Deer, how each area actually clears, and where the same home sits differently. It's not something I've put on my website, but if you're interested, scan the code on the screen or use the link in the description and I'll send it over to you. Now let's talk about Calgary and Edmonton. People ask because that's the big city. Numbers to May, Calgary's benchmark home is down 1.7% over the year. Edmonton is up 0.3%. Alberta as a whole down 1.4%. And there's 2 caveats with that. Those are May figures, and my numbers in Red Deer are August. And a benchmark index is a different measurement from a median. Don't stack the two against each other. Also worth knowing, Calgary is big enough to pull that provincial number around. When you see Alberta is down, you're mostly seeing numbers from Calgary. Calgary and Edmonton usually move before we do. Think of it as an early read, not a description of Red Deer. Own a townhouse or a half-duplex, you're in the tightest part of the market. Own a detached in Red Deer, price it properly, and it moves in about a month. Buying an apartment, you have more room than buyers have had in a while. On an acreage, anywhere in Red Deer County, Lacombe County, the number that matters isn't the price, it's whether it sells at all. And this is where pricing counts. And anytime you hear the market is doing one thing, it's worth asking which segment that number covers. It usually covers all of them at once, which is why it can be true and still not tell you anything about the home. If you're weighing this up for your own place, Red Deer, Sylvan Lake, Innisfil, anywhere in Central Alberta, call or text me 587-802-1500. I'll tell you what your segment is actually doing, and I'll tell you straight, this isn't your year, if that's the truth. No pressure, no pitch. If you got this far, the one that you want next is Central Alberta. List now or wait. This video tells you what the market is doing. That one tells you what to do about it.